Hi, I want to talk about the main difference between the tour pros and the average Joe golfer. Okay, so it has to do with what Titleist Performance Institute calls kinematic sequence, and that's the sequence of the body on the downswing. So what happens with amateurs, and these are the students that I teach when I first see them, what they do is they get to the top of the swing, and then what happens is what instead of the left hip leading and clearing, it's usually the hands that drop first. So then the swing characteristic is a loss of posture and a coming up and losing your spine angle. So this is what happens. You get the hands going first. The body has to do something to react to the hands moving first and the arms moving. And so we have to use our wrists and we have to come through and flip the club. And that causes a lot of inconsistency, hooking the ball and also pushing the ball. So it's really hard to be consistent squaring the club face and also making good contact, because really you only have, a couple inches. I mean, if you miss it more than an inch off the club face right here, okay, you're either going to hit the bottom of the club or you're going to hit the top of the club, usually the bottom. Okay, so you're going to have a really hard time being consistent with solid contact. So what I try to do to get my students to understand what the pros do is a rotary motion, but also the correct sequencing on the backswing first and getting those fundamentals down, the foundation, which mainly is using your trunk. You're going to start the backswing with a little bit of hip turn, only about 45 degrees, and then you're going to rotate, extend from the trunk. What I always tell my students is what actually is hitting the ball is not your arms, shoulders on down, okay, with the full swing. It is actually our trunk right here and our hips. So when we get to the top of the swing, the sequence, the correct sequence on the downswing should be the left hip clearing, so leading and pivoting, so it rotates, and then it's the trunk, and then it's the lead arm, and then the last thing through the ball at impact is your hands. Okay, so it's really important to get that sequence down. If we don't get that sequence down, you're going to have poor contact. There's not going to be any consistency in your game. So like most of my students that come to me, the number one goal is they want to be more consistent. But you got to first know what you're doing before you can improve on that inconsistency. So usually where the root cause is it's usually lack of flexibility, mobility of the hips, and the upper part of the trunk. If we can't rotate and we don't have that rotary motion, you're going to have a really difficult time doing the correct sequencing. So what you're going to see is this swing characteristic. You're going to see a sway, and you're going to see a slide. If you move lateral, you're not going to move that rotary motion that the pros do, and again, that causes inconsistency. So what you need to do is, if you're struggling with inconsistency, the majority of average Joe golfers out there, first thing you need to go do is get a biomechanical evaluation or an assessment through a Titleist Performance Institute instructor. Okay, he's going to pinpoint. They're going to pinpoint exactly where you're struggling. If it's what part of your body. Then you need to take some lessons and get the fundamentals down so you have good grip, aim, and setup, and then we can get the correct sequencing of the body. And so it takes a few drills. It takes good instruction to be able to get you to have a repeatable swing. And once you do that, you can do what the pros are doing.